All right, 15. 15 Cheshvan. Good morning, good day, wherever you are. A short but poignant Hayom Yom. The soul above, all right, that's our topic, the soul above of the tzaddik. But this is the other way around. The soul before it comes down awaits the time it will be privileged to descend into a body. For the soul senses, this is interesting, how much it can accomplish here below. You know, the Chazal give us a terminology. Al korchoch ator chai. The soul is forced to live. One part of the soul, or one tenua, one movement of the soul is it doesn't want to come down. Why would you, right? I mean, when you're up there clinging with the Eibishter himself, part and parcel of God himself. But there's another movement that the soul has, and this is the other movement. The soul senses how much it can accomplish, which it can't accomplish up there, how much it can accomplish down here below. It can attain the level of les'aneg halavaya, to have delight with Hashem. In other words, doing what delights Hashem. So if that's the case, if this is coming down here and engaging in all the tirdos of parnasa, the difficulties of making a living, etc., this is what Hashem wants from us, and this gives him delight. So the Frierdiker Rebbe concludes, so what is everyone waiting for? Jump in. Well, Hashem. We're jumping in at this time of the morning, at least every day.
Lehisanik actually grammatically doesn't mean to give Hashem delight, but to have delight.
To what? Well, what do you put the Hashem in there?
Lehisanik al Hashem, lehisanik al Havaya, to have delight through Hashem, on Hashem.
Delight. Well, he translates in English as delighting with God. Delighting with God.
But you translated it to give God delight.
Okay. I look at it, how do you delight? God is going to be delighting with you and you with him through this that you come down here below.
Yeah, but don't forget that we are delighted too.
Yeah, okay. Good. Wasn't in Tanya. Excellent. Page 175. Yeah, page 175. And in Likutei Amorim, over here, in the middle of page 292. Okay, so what we said yesterday, the tzaddik in his lifetime, his life is really not the life of the flesh, right? He's in a body, but the tzaddik is the life of the soul, and particularly three attributes of the soul: his emunah, his yira, his fear or love of Hashem, his fear or awe of Hashem, and his ahava, his love of Hashem. So, where are we here? Okay. They're right kind of in the lower middle of the page, opposite the Yud Daled. V'hine b'hiyesa tzaddik chai, while the tzaddik was living, al panei ha'adama, literally on the face of the earth, v'yishleisha midos elu, these three attributes, his emunah, his yira, and his ava, elu b'tei kli halavush shelahem, they were within a vessel, which is the body, bebechinas mokim, and in a particular place, gashmi, a physical place, a physical body in a physical place. Shehi bechinas nefesh hakashura v'gufay. This is the level of nefesh, as I said yesterday as we went ahead, the lower level of the 5 levels of the soul. The lowest level of the soul is called nefesh, and that's the level of the soul which is tied with the physical, with the body. V'chol tamido, and therefore all his students, in the mekablim, they can only receive raka ora memidus elu, just a ray, an effusion of a sense of the sense that you have when you saw the Rebbe, that there's something holy, there's something going on here. That's beyond what you see with your eyes. And that's the ray, the aura, if you will, of tzidkus, of righteousness, of the tzaddik's emunah, his yira, and his abba. And that's what we had when he was down here below, when we were in physical confrontation with the Rebbe. The zivon, just a ray. Hamer hutzlikli, which is shining outside the body, the vessel. How? How does he express himself? How does this ray of holiness express himself? Al deburov, through his words, umachshavtov, and through his thoughts, hakadoshim, his holy words and thoughts. Therefore, Omer Razar, our sages have said in the Gemara Veda Zorah, she'ein odom oimed al das rabbi, a person cannot contain the das, the knowledge of his Rebbe until he reaches 40 years, until the person who the Talmud reaches 40 years, because it's a gradual, it's just an effusion of rays, one after another, and it takes time. This is the world of place and time. This is the domain of place and time, the physical place and time down here below. Avo, however, after the tzaddik is potter, released from this boundedness of place and time, as he begins to separate from that level of soul which remains in the kever, there has to be something, otherwise how do the bones stay in existence? There has to be some spiritual force keeping them there, which is the lowest level of the soul, the nefesh. But as that there begins the separation and the rising upward from there, mibechinas haruach, so the nefesh down here below begins to separate from the ruach. The ruach is the next level up, begins to be released and to sort of float upward. The ruach which the home of the ruach is in Gan Eden. Shehen sholosh midas ololo, and these are these midos. The midas again, the midas of emunah, yira, and ava, as they are in the spiritual world, at least the lower level and then upper levels of Gan Eden. Therefore, so as you might think, they become more broadly available because they're not bounded. They're not bound by physicality of the body. Therefore, Yohal kol korab elov, therefore anyone who's been close to the tzaddik, the kabel chelik min bechinas ruchai, is able to receive something from that level of ruach, which is now freed from the physical body, Shema Gan Eden, which is in Gan Eden, as he says, because it's no longer bounded and limited by the vessel. And it's not ruach is not down here in the physical place. Kanedas is known by Menazal, as is known from the expression of our sages concerning Yaakov Avinu. When Yaakov Avinu went in to be blessed by his father Yitzhak, so it says, Shenichnas imoy Gan Eden, that when Yaakov walked in, there walked in with him, and I feel that, I'm not sure for 100%, that there was because this was an encounter with Yitzhak who was going to pass away, there was almost a tangible sense of the ruach which surrounded Yaakov Avinu. And it says, there walked in Yaakov Avinu l'sham shenichnas ima Gan Eden. His Gan Eden, his aura, is the closest word I can find in English to this, was perceptible and walked in with him. And also is written in a sefer of a Kabbalistic and Musar sefer, which is from the 1600s, 1800s. I'm looking at a note I wrote myself here when I looked it up, 1800. Sefer Sodom Amoris, that what? He writes, Sha'avar Gan Eden mispashet soiviv kol odom. This is why I call it an aura. It says that the air of Gan Eden spreads around its makif every person. Every person has a effusion, what's his word? there's a spreading out of the light of Gan Eden surrounding every person. And there's a trace of it in the Ava, in this air. And every person gives off that aura of sort of who he is at a deeper level, at the level of his machshavosav and his thoughts, the diburav, ha'tovim, the Torah, the good thoughts, which are the thoughts of Torah, avodas Hashem, and including and is a service of Hashem. A person exudes as an aura of that surrounding him, even as he is in this world. And then he says, parenthetically, it could be the aura of the other side as well. You see a person and you get a sense. You get a smell, you get a sniff of what this person is like by the way he carries or she carries himself, just things that are more intangible. So it can be the opposite also, chas v'sholem. The nirshumim, the aver there remains, there's a trace in the air, which comes from the spiritual realm of Gehenna, soivikol adam, and that can also surround the person. So this was tangible when Yaakov met his father, as his father Yitzchak is passing away, this aura. Hilcha, therefore, Nakol Ma'od is very easy, since now the aura has been freed from its captivity and it's clinging to the body. So when the tzaddik passes away, Hilcha, Nakol Ma'od is much easier, the Talmidov, to his students, the Kabel Helka Mebechinas Ruach, Rabbam, to receive something from the Ruach, the second level of the soul of his Rebbe, Ha'atzmius, not just the Ha'ora, but the essential Ruach. The Aura was sort of given off in the aura, A-U-R-A, the aura down here below of the tzaddik. Everyone who walked into the Rebbe, whether they had deep conversation with him or not, came away saying they felt something very special. That's the aura. But after the tzaddik passes away, that aura, which is coming from the higher level, the Ruach, is available. And what is that aura? That aura includes his emunah, Yerasa, his fear or awe of Hashem, and his love. Asher Ovid Bahem es Hashem, with which he served Hashem. And not just the aura, not just the ray alone. Hamer Hutz L'Kli, which had radiated outside the body when the body was here in life. Because now the essentialness of the level of Ruach, the one level above, Misala rises up, the Ila Achar Ilo, it sort of floats up, the Kolbo Bechinas Nishmase, and gets included in the third level of the soul up above, which is the level of Neshama, Shebe Gan Eden, in Gan Eden Elyon, in the higher level of Gan Eden, Shebe Olam Elyon, in the supernal worlds. V'naida, and it's known, Shekol Davar Shebekadusha, anything of holiness, Enu Nekar Lagamri, Mikol Bekol Mimakoimai, Umidrasai Harishoina. Anything of holiness is never uprooted entirely from its source, right? So we've been talking about going up, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, but that also has a source up above, and nothing is ever uprooted and torn away from its source and its original level. And even after it goes up, it can have an infusion and effect down here below. And this first level, which was Sheneshado Lamata, which remains down here below, we have the Nefesh down here amongst the bones, and then we have the effusion of Elokus in the level of Ruach down here below, up above the Nefesh, and then we have the effusion from the Neshama. So this effusion from the Neshama remains down below in the Gan Eden, Hatachton, in the lower level of Gan Eden, so in its place and its level, Harishoina, in the original place that it was, which is the Ruach in Gan Eden Hatachton. And this Mispashet is Talmidov. And this flows out to the Talmidim, to the students of the tzaddik. Each tzaddik, each Talmud, receiving a flow from the ruach, the neshama, and the ruach of the tzaddik, according to the level of attachment and relationship that the student had with the Rebbe when the Rebbe was alive, the Chayov, when the Rebbe was alive in his life. And after his passing, in his life and after his passing. The nature of the relationship that we have with the tzaddik has to do with the nature, the quality, we'll call it, of the hashpah that we can receive from the tzaddik after the tzaddik passes. And this be'av rabba, with a great love, ki hamshachas kol ruchnius, because this is a sort of the principle which is underlining this whole thing, because the drawings down of everything which is spiritual, ena el yedei av rabba, is only through great love. Remember, love, excuse me, comes from the side of Hesed. Hesed is the midah of hashpah, of flow, of fusion. And so the fusion from above to below is a product of the love. What? The love that we have down here below for the tzaddik, which is the reason why that we were clinging to him because of our great love for the tzaddik, and the avarabba, the great love that the tzaddik has from above to below. So our below to above and his above to below meet in this era when the tzaddik is no longer with us in a physical body. The Mishkosab is a Kodesh, as is written in the Holy Zohar, the Ruach, the Usa de Liba, that the spirit of the inner will of the heart, Amshich Ruach Mila'ela, draws down from above. In other words, our love for him, the spirit that we muster up's not a good word, that it flows from us, from our relationship with the tzaddik, which is our avarava, our great love for him, that arouses that there should be a hamshacha from above on the paradigm, right, that we've talked about many times, and it's used many times in Chassidus. The face you show to the water is the face you get back. The nature of the relationship you have with the tzaddik brings down a much greater quality of that relationship, whatever it was, from above to below. Only and to bring this down, this love from the neshama and then the ruach and back down, is only if one is mekaven. Rak im yekaven likras elokov, only if one intends to call out to God. Behachana rabba, with a great preparation. The great preparation, the way I'm taking it, and I'm saying it this, I'm editorializing here, is the preparation that we've made all our lives by immersing ourselves in the person of and the teaching of the tzaddik. The more hachana, the more preparation we have, the more kavana we have in our relationship with the tzaddik, the more of that deep relationship, the intrinsic deep relationship, is drawn down from above. According to Behachana Rabba, the preparation, V'yagia Atzmusa, and the strength of our yearning, the Kabul Sholosh Midas, that we want to receive these three Midas, the Amuna and the Yira and the Abba of Hashem. Halalu. Kederech Sheharohu Rabbi, as the way the Rebbe has taught us. Ukamayim Rizal, and as our sages have said, Yogaita umatsosa ta'amin, right? The more effort plain translation, you strive, and if someone says, I have striven, I have tried, and I found, you can believe him. Because the energy that we put down here below draws down the strength of the energy from above. That's today's Tanya. Comments, questions, and as Rosa said yesterday, I don't know if she's here today. I don't see her. Oh, she is. So what?
Can I ask a technical question before we get into the more
Of course.
Buddhic stuff? When you use the word ha'ora,
Yeah.
Is it
Ha'ora.
consistent with, yes,
Yeah.
ha'ora, the Hebrew word?
Yeah.
Is it consistent with the use of the word when we talk about the ha'ora through by separation through the creation? You talk about the ha'ora from the Yesh Hamiti. Is it consistent in that sense?
I don't know what you mean, the ha'ora of the Yesh Hamiti.
That
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that expression. The ha'ora of the Yesh Hamiti.
Okay, okay, I'll ask a different way. Does the ha'ora have the same qualities as the shorish of the source of the ray, the effusion?
Yes and no. It's first of all, that it's a ha'ora indicates that it isn't the same. It's just a ha'ora of, but it's a ha'ora of. So it has the way it's expressed a lot, not expressed, the way the mushal is sort of broken up and explained a lot in Chassidus. We've actually covered this a lot in the Seder HaHistalshelis. The light, well, before anything happened that we call creation, right? Hashem contracted his original light, which pervaded everything. Not there was nothing, but pervaded all that was the light. And then he contracted it and he emitted what's called a kav, right? A beam, and you may be familiar with it. And when they speak about the beam, the light before the kav comes through the beam. That's the light that's before the ha'ora, but it's carried through. It's just, for instance, you can, an easy mushal, just think about light here, in a room. The light you're getting out of a light bulb, it has a source. You don't see the source, but if it weren't for the source, there wouldn't be the light. So similarly, the light that's coming through the ha'ora is not the same quality, for sure, but it couldn't exist with, and therefore it does contain the light before the ha'ora. So I think that's the question you're asking, and the answer is yes, but it's a totally different quality. The light after the kav is a totally different quality of the same light that existed before the kav. Does that answer your question? Yes or no? Whose question was it? Whoever asked that question, does that answer your question? Right. Silence. Okay. Anybody else? Ubechein. Therefore what? We have an incident in Gimel Tammuz, and the Rebbe is, for most people at least, not physically present. But we've learned that his presence is actually, and the ha'ora of his presence is actually much broader than it was then. So what do we do with it? As our Yom said, right back to the Yom. The Yom says, what did it say? So what is everyone waiting for? Use it. Take it. It's there for the offering just because we have a relationship with the tzaddik.
Avi, you said before the kav. Is that the same as before the tzimtzum?
Yeah. The kav originates before the tzimtzum, yes. And then the tzimtzum pierces through the tzimtzum. Yes.
Thank you.
People who want technical answers, yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, then we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you, Avi. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Great.
You got it.